Good morning, Wild Hearts. Diana and Sylviana here. I almost said Diana. Sylviana, Diana. And we were talking earlier this morning about how we have come to use self-reflection as the tool that helps us to grow, evaluate what we're doing well and the things that we would like to change. That always seems to come up. We were talking about the fact that there are people out there that journal and they're very diligent, and it's a tool that serves them well. I'm not a diligent journal. I have been known to journal. Right now I'm not doing that. It takes up a little time, but I always pray. And my prayer in the morning is, God, keep my mouth shut when it should be shut. Don't let me put anything into it that doesn't need to come in, and please keep it shut. So whatever I think should come out that doesn't need to, doesn't. So that is my self-reflecting practice for sure.
That's one way to do it.
Right.
One of the things that opened my eyes to the benefits of self-reflection was being a teacher. And so all the years that I was a teacher, and I would create these wonderful lesson plans, and often or sometimes they worked really perfectly just as I meant them to, and then sometimes it was a total flop. So the times that they worked, the kids were learning, they were engaged, it was fun. And then there were times when it totally flopped. The kids are playing, they're into trouble, they're talking too much, they're definitely not looking at the front of the room at me, and they're not learning. So I quickly learned to take notes in my lesson plan book about what worked well, what didn't work, and how I might change it up so that it would work better in the future. And that helped me to learn and grow so much as a teacher. And sometimes I wouldn't use that for another year, when the
Right.
lesson was,
Right.
But sometimes it was like classroom management or something like that. Notice that, little Jimmy in the back of the room needs to sit closer to the front of the room, or maybe just simply to move him next to somebody else who might help him or not talk to him as much. So just little things like that help me to become better
Right.
at my craft. And so then it seems like the more I did that, the more I started transferring these new habits and skills to my personal life.
Exactly.
And so I just became more aware. I'm when something would happen in the day that maybe upset me, I just became aware. I became aware that my face got red or heated up, and maybe I was embarrassed or angry or upset about something. And so I realized right away, okay, what's going on? What's going on with me? Why am I feeling this way?
Why am I reacting to that?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a certified Jack Canfield trainer, and the one thing that I remember sitting in there when he said you have to take 100% responsibility, and that means for your reactions to things, and you modeled that to me early on. We've been friends. Jesus was on the earth, and the thing that I learned was when you're reacting to something somebody else has said or done, that, like you said, it's about you. It's not about, oh, they're Joe Schmo. It's why am I reacting so strongly? And like you know what your triggers are. You feel your face. I don't feel my face. I feel 0 to 900 right now. It's as big as it can be, and it's always about me. And I know that sounds narcissistic, and that's not how I mean it. Whatever the rub is, it's not about that person. It's not their ability or an inability to do something. It's what I see in myself, a place for me to grow, a place for me to chisel that thing down and get rid of it, whatever it might be. And the only way that you're going to be aware of that happening in the world is if you're aware of what your triggers are.
Right.
Just like when you diet. If you know that gummy bears are going to kick your ass, don't have them in the house. Just saying.
Okay, so I have a quick example. And this is a very simple thing, and that happened to me and probably happened, 100 times. But when I became aware, it changed everything. I was at a conference, a week-long conference, and a lot of us were there, and we were staying in a hotel, and we were strangers before we got there, and we became friends. Well, it was really early in the morning. I was outside of the hotel. I was getting something out of the trunk of my car, and then 2 people from my conference, from my group, walked by me, and they were in deep conversation. And I looked at them, I smiled, and I said, "Good morning." and they didn't respond to me at all. They didn't even look up. And I didn't even notice it at the time. Actually, my head at the time said, oh, they're talking about something really deep. I'm sure they didn't hear me.
Right.
And it was fine. But then a little later, I'm driving to the conference, and I'm feeling really upset, and I feel a pit in my stomach, and I'm like, what's going on?
Right.
And I thought back, and I realized that I had internalized that conversation. I took it kind of like rejection, and it hurt me or upset me in some way. So when I was able to see that, become aware of that feeling, take it back to what was causing it, and then let it go, because my head knew it wasn't them rejecting me. It was simply that they were in a deep conversation. This was a very deep conference, and
Right.
so there was a lot to think about and talk about. So I totally understood it. When I was able to make that connection, I let it go, I moved on. And
Right.
so I started doing that more and more often, and it just made me become so aware that we do those types of things all the time, and they hold us back.
Right. Well, and I think I've talked about before, Diana developed questions for her family, and I thought, oh my God, what a great tool. And it really is. And so from there, that's something we talked about in our life a lot, is the fact of the asking the questions and why the questions are important. And that's why you sat down and developed the 10 questions that you need to consistently ask yourself, so you can measure that you're staying on track and that you are growing and that you are stretching yourself.
Yeah, look at yourself with a critical eye.
Yeah.
So if this interests you, take a look. Take a little deeper look. Take our link and download our 10 questions.
Yeah.
To consistently ask yourself, to stay true to yourself.
Exactly, because you don't have enough going on right now, just in case. And remember, wild hearts out there in the world, love is all there is. Share it. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye.